Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Then the next thing that we will be talking about is case routing mechanisms. Right? Routing here, this context, what does it mean? Let us see that. When I talk about people working on the assignment or people working on the case types, right? I need to tell who has to work on it. Right. Which assignment is intended for whom has to be clearly defined. Correct? When you take this online transaction as an example, initially the case would be created by you as a customer. Once you make payment, once you confirm the order, the authority now shifts to the vendor, which means the case is being routed to the vendor. Right. After maybe the vendor defines or if he confirms your order, then it goes to the packaging team. Right. It's not like one person would be handling it. There would be a team of people. Correct? At each step, we need to tell who should be working on that particular assignment. Sometimes you may have multiple people working on it. Sometimes you need one single person. Irrespective of whatever you always should mention how or who would be working on a particular assignment. Who's responsible? It is. Like typically in our projects also, we have each task a particular team member. Right. It is his responsibility that he should complete the assignment on time. Like that here also, when we are dealing with business transactions, we should clear mention who would be working on it. Sometimes it could be a single person. Sometimes it could be a team of people. But that routing button to make sure that the transaction would be moved across multiple people or it would be assigned to multiple different stages, different steps. When I talk about the different routing options, I'll talk about two terminologies, queue and worklist. What is it? Work queue and worklist. Let me pull. Worklist. Work 2 hours. What does this be? And work queue and worklist. Let me tell you. Let us take this scenario. Today is my birthday. What I do? I take a bunch of chocolates and I suppose let us consider that I'm in the office. I take a bunch of sweets and I put it on my desk. For every person that comes and wishes, I would hand over a sweet. Some people might not be, interested in having sweets, but still out of that courtesy they'll accept. Where I am giving in each sweet. There's one more scenario where I take a bunch of chocolates and I will just drop in a mail saying that please help or please serve yourselves. Whoever is interested in chocolates, they might come. Right. Others may not come. First scenario, I'm sort of forcefully giving sweet. Whereas in the second scenario, they are taking chocolates out of their interest. Right? We have some less push routing. And pull routing, we call it. The first scenario where I push things, where I say that you need to work on this assignment, is push routing. Second scenario where people will take the assignments. Suppose maybe one of our teammate, he has his deliverables all done for the day. He might take one more task, which is probably of the next sprint. He might take it out of interest. That will be part of the push routing, pull routing. We call it work queue and work list. Push routing is basically a work list, whereas pull routing is part of work queue. I mean you understood the push. Now when I talk about work queues and work list, I'll put it this way. Here are a few answers. Work queue is a list of all open assignments for a group of users. What is it for a group of users? Whereas work list is a list of all open assignments for a specific user. What does this mean? Group of users, specific user and all. I'll tell you. One more scenario now. I've lost. Work queue is a push routing and work list is pull routing, isn't it? Work list is sort of push routing. I'm telling that you need to work on it. I'm pushing the assignments towards them. That becomes a push. That is work list. Correct. Pull routing is working. Pull some assignments. You put something in the queue and it's their choice. Maybe I'll give a one simple scenario again to understand this better. I've lost my credit card. What will I do? I'll call in my customer service of the bank, saying that before directly interacting, I would get some IVR and alright, asking you to make this. They say that if you have some issues with account, click 1. If you have some complaints related to you, maybe your balance inquiry, click 2. Or if it is something related to cards, press 3, something like that. You would get up, the IVR sort of stuff. Suppose I click 3. Now again I get some music or some sort of thing saying that you please wait or please hold. We put you to the operator. I'll be waiting. Now some random operator will come to address my issue. They say I'm on. John, I would like to help you. Like what? What is your issue? And they would ask me, I'll tell that I've lost my card. They will immediately block my current credit card and they will request for the new credit card. John says, sir, I've done all of this. You will get your new credit card within 3 days. The call ended there. The interaction was, stopped there. I waited for 3 days or 4 days. I still do not get my credit card. What I do? I'll again call the customer service. This time, can I let anyone interact with me Or should I let only John take my call? Which one's better? It's better. John takes that call. It doesn't happen. Because he has been. Because he has addressed my issue earlier. He knew me earlier. That it's for me to interact with him. Right. This time specifically, I'll ask for John. Can I speak to John? But in the earlier, anyone is fine for me. From a customer perspective. Any one scenario is a work queue. Whoever is available at that point of time, they can help me out. Whereas in the second scenario, I only need John there. That specific user is nothing but a work list. I think now this makes more sense. Worker queue is a list of all assignments for a group of users. There'll be a team of people in the credit card department. They are all in the addressing the credit card related issues. Anyone can access or anyone can, provide me with the solution. Whereas a list, which means only for one specific user, only that user can address my scenario. Like when it comes to, it can be taken as a first line support and second line. When you go to first line, like if you will be addressed first time when any issues. It will be addressed by anyone. But after that, that call will be assigned to someone. And then you ask for the specific. Correct. You can say. Now, along with this work queue and work list, we have other types of routing mechanisms as well. We'll see what else. The first one is the current user. Whoever is initiating the case, he will always be the current user. That is also a routing mechanism. Then you have specific user. Current user in this example is customer, isn't it? Right. Current user. Specific user, where in the second scenario, only John has to address my issue. That becomes a specific routing option. And I have work queue. Anyone, whoever is available at that point in time, they can pick up my call. This can be how the first line support is configured, isn't it? The initial. Correct. That's the first line. And then you have business logic. Sometimes your routing would be based upon the specific scenario. Some special issues. Exactly. Right. Probably the customer is a very high profile customer. He has been part of he has his account probably from a very long time in your organization. That case needs to be immediately addressed and with a very high skilled operator. We him the best service and we need to provide him a very quick service on all. It's sort of a business logic routing option for me. He might be, where business logic might be involved. Let us go ahead. We'll see how this routing works. Let me go back. And before, if I talk about routing, I need to have some operators right. Because without operators, I do not know where it is being routed to and all. You mean like a switch, like a in-between? No, the actual people. I mean the operators. Currently you are dealing with an admin. Admin can do anything. Even if you add in the routing options also, I can just take the same case. You can complete it with an administrator. But how do I know if it is directly routed to that person or that specific work queue or not? We should get few operators first. Let us create some operators. If you observe, how can I create operators from the App Studio is something called as users. Click on Users Explorer panel. You have people. We will see what this people is. They are nothing but your operators. Currently, you see there are like 2 people on the application. Let us see what is this admin on the role as an administrator. Let me click on that. Here the input, that means here the interference is required. Isn't it like real people will be needed here? Exactly. This is admin addressee. Let me change the full name also. Just make sure. But now here I wouldn't add admins. I would add normal users who work on the actual end application. Right. I would add users here. The role wouldn't be an admin for the ones that I'm going to create now. Let us see how do I do it. Along with people, there's one more thing called person. Person, people, and then we have person. And it's still loading. People are the actual users. Whereas persona defines the access. What kind of access can I provide to that user? Is he a manager? Is he an end user? Is he an admin? That would be defined on the persona. This is against the loading. You can also create operators directly from the admin studio as well. And this can also be done from the App Studio. Here comes your personas. By default, while your application is created, you would get few personas provided by the system. We can also go ahead create our own personas as well. Currently, if you observe, there are a lot of different options. There are 2 personas available provided by the system. One is a manager and one is user. If you observe, personas I have like two personas available. One is manager and one is user. Obviously, the access provided for a manager in an application would definitely be more than what an end user can access. In the technical terms for users, we call it a case worker, whereas managers are called case managers. I don't need to create any more new person as us for now. But let me create some users. I would like to create some people. Let me create a user. Let me create a user at the rate Alice. And you see, I'll be able to select the role as well. I'm going to add a user. After which let me add in. Let me add in a manager. Here is a manager. Then I'm going to add a senior manager also. Let me add. Now along with. Here, I have created three new operators. One is an end user, one is a manager, one is a senior manager. Let's see if they are reflecting on the operators. Now, creating operators, it just says that they're in the application, but what all they can access or what all they can do would be defined upon the personas. Only personas, you have managers and users. If you observe now, they are reflecting the users, are reflecting on the persons. Because two users were created with the manager role, whereas one user is created with the user role. You see this under users. Let me see what is that. Oh, here I see one user. Whereas for managers, I have got two users. Far we have been looking only in the VA or in the admin person. Right. Where you create case types. You only design it, you run it, but an end user will not be able to design a case type. Right? He can only run it. He can only execute it. Just like now, if I log in as a customer to the HDFC bank, I can only make transactions there. I can check the balance. I can withdraw amount of. Only those are possible. I cannot develop the banking application. The user's view would be completely different. Let us see how it looks like. I'm just going to open the same application in the user perspective. I've given the same URL, but let me check how it looks for the end user. This is the user. This is the default credentials. Let me log. I'm just reloaded. And yes, this is how a case worker portal looks like. This is how an end user sees my application. He can just click on new to see all the case types. What all he can see? He do not see any case lifecycle. He do not see any. No case statuses the decisions. He do not see anything related to that. He can only execute the case. And depending upon the values or depending upon the conditions you have given, the case would navigate accordingly. And this is how end user looks at the application. The complete view, I mean different from what the admin or an author can see. As an author admin, you can go to case types. You can see, you can design it, you can change it. A lot of things are possible. You can see all of this panel processing the decisions. All of this is seen. Whereas for an end user, he can only create a case instance. He doesn't know what is there in it. That's why we need to define clear-cut statuses and all to just make sure he knows what is happening. Let me submit. This is how an end user works on the application. Now let us go with the routing options. And actually before that, let us also see how a manager looks at the application. Definitely a manager will have better privileges than what an end user can have. Let me log off from the user portal. And will log in as a manager. Where are my manager operators? Sure, we will do that then. Maybe we'll just look at the manager portal. The views for a manager and for an end user will be different. Manager will have a lot of new or other aspects. The dashboard is different. You can see which cases are in which stages. You can see some reports like what is happening. This is a recommend-based cases by status. There are 11 cases here, of which 3 and under the interview process. 1 is released offer. Rest of the 7 are in the submission. He can see a lot more other things than what an end user can see. He can also create the request. Because managers also can create profiles. They can add in some references and all. They have access to both manager aspects as well as an end user aspect also. Right. Yes, these are about the end user portal and the manager portal. Let me also log in with the senior manager. Just change the end user password. Once this is done, we will go back to the admin portal to add the routing options. Senior manager will also have the same kind of new water manager has because both of them are part of the same person. Yes, I see almost the same view. And he can also create new cases. Let me add in the routing mechanism. Before that, I'm just going to save and run to just see. I did not add anything far. I just wanted to see how the case is running. Let me proceed for this. Right. We are aware of this particular part and we know the case ID and status, the SL, all of that is seen on the screen. And here comes your case details. I can see who is the one that has created the case. Who's the one that has last acted on this case? This is created by who? By the admin. Because as an admin, I created the case. And what is the last action that is done? It is also by the admin 1 minute ago. If I just proceed on with this, I can go ahead with all the steps in the transaction. For example, generally the first stage of whatever is related to submission is done by the candidate. Correct. Submission stage, being part of the candidate is good, is acceptable. But can I have the retentist also routed to the candidate? The decision does not lie with the candidate. And my approval of the candidate. The decision does not lie with the candidate. It has to be by the recruitment team. The candidate cannot decide what has to be the result of the interview. Right. This approve, reject definitely cannot be by the end user. Correct. And he cannot, provide the IT, or he will not be able to provide the access and all. One single user handling the complete transaction cannot be possible at any cost. It will not be possible. Take any business transaction, you will have 3 or more people involved in it. Here also, routing brings you that different people will be acting on the system or acting on the transaction. Let us go back. We will decide the routing options. The first one, the create stage, is submission has to be done by the candidate only. Whoever is creating the case, he will always be the current user. And you see this assignment when I click, you see the options route to is set to current user, which is as expected. I don't need to change it. And mind that your routing will only happen for user interactions. It cannot happen for automated steps. Just like then again follow up with HR is also the current user experience and provide documents. All of this is routed to the current ones. Even BGV info is also to the current user. I don't need to change the routing option for any of the steps under submission stage. What about return test? Assume a return test has to be taken care by the manager. What I could do is I can choose a specific user. And when I choose a specific user, I should also mention who is that user. Mentioning a specific user will not do anything. You should tell which user it is. For that again, I have a different options. You can directly give the username. You can give the manager name here, or you have some reference fields. The user reference fields will also be there. We can add that, and you can also select the reporting manager for each operators. If that is the case, you can directly choose the reporting manager. And then it could be a participant. Who is a participant here? Here we only have one participant, which is the owner, the one who created the case. Owner is always the one who created the case. In this context for specific user, let me use username. And what is the name of the manager here? The operator ID is manager@REC. Written test is now the responsibility of the manager. What about approve, reject step? Where is my second step, approve, reject? This also. Let me route it to a specific user again. And I let this be a senior manager this time. And feedback. Assuming a manager is collecting the feedback here, I will route it to the specific user again, which is our manager. And offer acceptance. Who is the manager? Whose responsibility it is to work on the offer acceptance? Who will decide whether the offer has to be accepted or not? Is it manager? Is it senior manager? Who do you think? Hello. It is manager. Exactly. Kritik, I hope you are able to see the screen right. the case a lifecycle screen. Offer acceptance is now the responsibility of the current user. Or it could be like you can choose a specific user and you can choose a participant and you can choose the owner. It goes back to whoever has created the case. The rest of the steps also related to onboarding and all should be routed appropriately. It should be part of the onboarding team, HR onboarding, admin onboarding. Likewise, we can go ahead with the different routing options. Far we have seen two routing options. One is current user, one is specific user. Let us run the case. Let me save it here. But I will start running it from the end user perspective, not from the admin engine. Let me log in with the user and I will create a transaction and I will see how it routes. Let me go back and I am going to log in as a user. Let me create a new case instance. Click on New and record. The case ID is the key here because that's a unique identifier. Let us make a note of the case ID. Are 6006 IDs. Let me give the name. Hello World. Hello World. And the phone number. And then some data put, because that's how an end user will enter the details. He will not skip any of these details, right? Even though if it's not mandatory. Let me submit. University, then bachelor's degree or master's grade. And they have been education 1 year. He will follow. Sorry, he will provide documents. And you see now the case status is last updated by the user and it is created by the user. Experience of 5 years. Previous and right. Assuming that I can reduce one step at least. You see, once the submission stage is done, I no longer see any of the other assignments. Right. It says the case is routed appropriately. Now, who should I check with for this case? Whose responsibility it is to handle the case, to take it further? Can a user do anything? I applied for the job, which means my task is done. Who takes over? It is a manager because the written test is the routed to the manager. Let us see. I log off as in the user's parties, then you log off. Let the manager log in. Here is your manager portal. Where can I check? What are the pending assignments of the operator of this particular manager? We can see it under the You Know This particular tab. If it's a specific user, is it a work queue or is it a work list? Exactly. It will be the work list. He will have this tab of manager. We'll have all the assignments routed to him. If it is specifically routed to him, he'll be able to see all of it under this particular context. I see R6006, which means a candidate has raised a request for recruitment. He has filled in the details. And now the case is pending with manager for the written test. We did not define the view for it, but that's Whatever it might be related to scheduling or giving some marks, whatever it might be. The written test is to be acted upon by the manager. And the case is created by whom? Created by the user. Last updated by the user 2 minutes before. Let us assume the manager has acted upon this, added some details. Let him finish the transaction. It says it has been routed for approval. Whose task is it next to act on the case? Is it user? Is it manager, anyone else? The next step. Who would be the next user to act on this transaction? But interview is there, right? The interview has to be decided by whom? The result of the interview. It has to be decided by your senior manager. Exactly. Your senior manager. Let me log in with the senior manager. At each point of the case, there will be different people working on it. Here is your senior manager. Let me log in with the manager. And you see the work list. Up to all case pending for case RL 6. Let the senior manager check. Assuming he has taken all the technical discussions and all of that as well. He will decide whether the candidate can be approved or not. Let's do the positive scenario. Assume he has selected the candidate. Let's go. Let me approve. And you see case is last updated by manager, created by user. Let him approve. Now again case. Now says, let's see what happens. Can I use your phone torchlight? It says again, the case has been noted appropriately. The interview stage is done. And in release offer, who would be the next person to look after the case? Send offer email is anyways an automated step. It wouldn't be routed to anybody. Who should take care of the feedback? Is it user manager, senior manager? The feedback is the responsibility of the manager. Let's log in with the manager to see if the case is pending with him. I see R1006 is pending with feedback. I see it. Assume the manager has collected the feedback and entered the details. Let him proceed with the transaction. After that, again the case says it has routed appropriately. Who is the next person to act on the case now? After feedback. Any guesses after feedback? We offer acceptance. Let the user decide whether you want to take up or not. Let us see if that is routed to the user or not. In case again, 1006 again comes back to the user. Let us see if that is just. Let us just log in back and refresh. And all of these you can also see. Let us see if that is the responsibility of that user to work on the assignment. Unless they work on it, the case will not move further. If no decision is taken on this approval, suppose nobody is acting on it. It is pending with the senior manager for about 1 month. The case will not proceed from there. It has been pending for 1 month. Right. Are we good with specific user and work list? Any questions far? Are we clear? Current user and specific user. Are we good? Current user and specific user we have seen. But as work queue, we would need you might need to go to the Dev Studio for a moment to check on the work queue. Let us see how it works. When I see a work queue, there are a team of people involved in it. I need to navigate back to the Dev Studio to add or to decide what all or who all users would be part of that work queue. Let us finish the business logic. Then we will go back to the Dev Studio to create the work queue. Routing based upon business logic. Maybe. Let me give you a scenario. Suppose you are hiring a freshman. Maybe now person without any experience. It's just a college pastor. In that case, in order to approve his candidature, maybe a manager or senior manager should do the task. Right? I don't need an approval from CEO to hire an intern. Right? Assuming a large-sized organization, I don't need a CEO to approve the interns. We were talking about this business logic-based routing. Right. Yes, this scenario. Suppose if you are hiring an intern for your organization, you don't need the approval of a CEO, right? Maybe a senior HR manager or a manager HR would do. Whereas if you are hiring a CTO or a COO, then you definitely need some other approvals. Right. Maybe CEO or board of directors or some sort of other people might need to provide some approvals. These are special scenarios where the routing is, based upon the business rules or business logic. Right. Let us see how this works. Suppose there is a written test. And let me choose the business logic here. And here I need to build the business logic. The conditions on what basis you want to route or whom to route need to be defined. These do not occur on day-to-day basis. They are like some special scenarios, some specific instances. You need to use the business logic. Let's see. How it will know in spite of because you are defining in the same step, isn't it? Where otherwise it's a normal flow. No, here it routes based upon the conditions. It will check the conditions just like your automated decision. Right. Depending upon the decision, it moves to a particular assignment. Here, depending upon the business condition or business logic, It is routed to a specific person. Suppose I need to route to a senior manager. If, what is the condition? When you want this to be routed to a senior manager. Maybe it depends upon the conditions. Right. Maybe related to experience or depending upon the designation I can choose. There's no designation, isn't it? We can put it on. We did not define a designation. If you want it to be based out of a designation, we can create that field in any of the forms and you can have it available here. Suppose if I want it based upon experience. Experience is greater than maybe 10 years. You can 10 years write, maybe 10 years. You want this to be approved by a senior manager. Otherwise, if it's less than 10, it's if a manager can work upon this. You have multiple conditions. Suppose if you have a range of experiences, maybe 0 to 5, 5 to 10, greater than 10. 3 ranges are there. I can define 3 different routing mechanisms. Suppose if I want one, if there's one more other manager operator, I can add in one more condition and I can route it according. And along with this, I can also route it to a work queue as well. Not just an operator. It's not always a single operator. I can have a work queue also. Here comes your work queue option. Anyone in that team approve or can work on this transaction. And some routing conditions are based upon the skills. We need to, go back to the Dev Studio to work on these too. Generally, custom options will not be defined in the App Studio. No worries. We don't need to throw much light on these, but except for these, the rest of the other 4 options. Current user specific user work queue and business logic. We have to be thorough with those. These 2 are not that important on the App Studio perspective. Is it for system architect to design it? Correct. Exact. Right. Because we can do this only from the Dev Studio perspective. The other 4, we should be really thorough with those other 4 options. Now let us see how business logic routing would work. Let us see. I'm going to submit. Sorry, one question. It is not exactly related to this, but if the business analyst wants the system architect to do something on the logic here, where does he specify? In the sense, because we do direct capturing of requirements, isn't it? Correct. Let me show that as well. Suppose let me show that on the Dev Studio. On the Dev Studio, you have actually something called as DCO. All the objectives or specifications are captured there. When you, as a business architect, you will have access to the Dev Studio also. You will have access to both App and Dev Studios, not the App Studio. But you need not do it. That's what you meant. Correct. Configurations. You can leave it to the system architect, but you can just write your specific specifications there. Exactly. Now suppose if I just want to run this, there's my business logic still there. I think we did not save it. Who is it? No, we should not save it. Let me just rebuild the. Yes, can you see? Yes, thank you. Who sign up? All in Australia. In your manager. Explain. Great to then. Could one look 10? Otherwise, I want the manager to work on you. Return test. Let me submit. Now I am going to save it, but I let the user work. I don't want to check it as an administrator. We will check it from the user. Let us log in as user now. Let me create. $6,000. Proceed. Provide documents. And where is the experience? Let me put the experience to some 16 years. Be the next person, or who would be the person to work on the return test of this transaction? Senior manager. Right, exactly. Let us see. Once the submission stage is done, now let us check the senior manager's work list to make sure that it is routed correctly. Yes, here comes your 6007, depending upon the business logic. Right. If it is less than the 10 years, it would be routed to the manager. Next step by advance. The next step is approval. Right. Who is this routed to? It is routed to the senior manager only. I see that he can handle both return test and the candidate selection. Both are now the responsibility of the senior manager. This is because return test based upon the condition it is routed to the senior manager. But as technical discussion, it is dependent upon the senior manager directly because we have given a specific user condition. Right. If I approve it, it goes to the manager next because feedback is again the responsibility of the manager. When I go and check in the manager portal, I will have it. Yes, I have the R677 pending with the feedback. Clear for the business logic. Are we good? I think more work is needed, isn't it? Because it's now getting a bit complicated, right? You can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of things from here onwards, isn't it? Correct, correct, correct. Let us also check that one last routing option which is related to a work queue. Work queue something. These are also generated while you create your application. One default work queue for your application is created by default. But work queue needs to have a set of people. How will I know which team or which users are involved in that part of work queue? I cannot know that directly from the. I cannot know it directly from here. Let me check the manager. I want to see how this looks like. Here, if you observe, I don't have anything related to a work queue. It says the name, email, telephone, and some skills are there. Some professional information is there. I didn't do anything. I just clicked on users and then clicked on people. I see all the users of my application. I clicked on manager. I'm observing the profile of this manager. I see some personal information like full name, email, telephone, some professional information. Is their role, unit and report. There's also some skill, but nowhere I can see anything related to a work queue. Correct. Adding the user to a particular work queue can be done from the Dev Studio only. Let us just switch back to the Dev Studio. I want to see all the operators of my application first, that I will decide which operator has to be part of which work queue. Work queues could be specific to your departments. It could be based upon skill. Like all people trained on credit card related issues could be part of a credit card work queue. If I want to see all the operator instances, let me click on records. Then you have organization as a category inside which you have operator ID. This shows all the operators on your application. In fact, it shows all the operators available on that particular node. On that particular node. I mean wherever your applications. All available applications on that node will be available. Now I am interested in this manager at the rate REC, this operator. Let us see how our operator profile looks on the Dev Studio. It has to be a little more than what we see on the App Studio. Correct? This is how it looks like. We have like 4 different tabs here, and let me choose the Work tab. Under the Work tab, here you have the work queue. Here is where I can add an associated work queue to this operator. That means this manager is part of a specific work queue. Let me add, you have an add item of plus sign here. Work queue. You will always have a default work queue available as part of your organization. You remember our organization division unit, right? XYZ India Hyderabad. There's always one default work queue available for your organization. Let me just use this default work queue. Let me say you can also open it and you can see what that operator, what that work queue consists of and how it looks like. And you can create more work queue also if you want later. Yes, we can create. But this creating of work queues and all is a bit on the developer's perspective. They would be doing it. We would be more like we would be using it. That you can ask the developers that what all work queues you need depending upon the functionality or depending upon the business rules and conditions. They would create and they create a team. Now just part of the default at the rate XYZ. Let me add in the senior manager also to the same work queue. Now whoever is available within these two can take up my tasks. You can have more operators also. A work queue can have a number of operators associated with it. Now manager and senior manager. Both are associated to a work queue called default at the rate XYZ. Looks good. The name is default. Team for XYZ is the name. Now let me go back. And this time on the App Studio, I will be using a work queue here. This time for the return test, I'm going to use a work queue. Whoever is available on that particular team, they can work on the return test of the candidate. Let me save it. And let me also put the feedback to the work queue. This also, I'll add it to the work queue. Defaulting. Let me see. Now return test and the feedback both are routed to the work queues. The approval still lies with the senior manager. Now let us see what happens. Let the user or candidate run a case instance. What is the transaction ID? Shubman. Let me advance the case. I'll just use a previous employee. I can reduce one execution of a step. It is routed. It goes where? It goes to the return test. Who is responsible? Now which operator or which user? Both, isn't it? Correct. Let us see. Now both will get it. One of them. If both gets, if one of them approves action set, then it will go out of the queue, isn't it? Correct. Let us check both. Suppose. First, let me check with the senior manager. We'll see whether it's available in the work queue or not. It's not available on the work list this time because it's not specified to him. Rather, it's available on the work queue. There is one in the list of default, Team XYZ. Let's see. For the team, we see it. It's up to this user whether he wants to work on it or not. There's no compulsion. It is available. If he has time, he can work on it. Or otherwise, he doesn't need to work on it. It is available for senior manager. What about manager? Is it available for him as well? Let us check. It's not available on the work list. This is the earlier one. It should be on the queue. Yes, we have it on the queue. Let the manager take it. Once he opens it from the work queue, it is no longer available for other users. Now from the work, it goes to the work list of this particular manager. It would be emptied. When this would be pushed out of the work queue. And it is inserted onto the work list of the manager, that other users cannot work on the same task. It is moved. Right. Once assuming the manager works on it, his task is done. You just advance the case. Then the next aspect is for approval. Approval is part of whom is part of the senior manager. Let the senior manager come in and let him work on the assignment. That should be in the list, isn't it? Exact. It is on the work list. If it is intended to you, it will be in your work list. If it is intended to everyone, it would be on the work queue. Right? Now the approval is again done. Yes, the approval is done. The next aspect is feedback. feedback is like part of a work queue. It would be available for both senior manager and manager. Now, if I want to see it from the senior manager perspective, just click on the dashboard because I'm already in the senior manager's profile. I see it available here. XE. If he is available, he can just take up the assignment right away. If you click on that, it will. If you click on that, it will like you have taken it up. Correct. If I just click on it, it means that I'm opening that transaction. It says R608 is already open because the same user is working on it. Right? It says it is already open. I can save. Now I'm on the feedback. It is up to us to decide. Up to us as in probably the business user. No, sometimes you will open and you might feel this is not for me. I think sometimes internally you will have it, isn't it? You want to move it again to the queue. Can you do that? You can do it. Let me show it. There are some bulk actions here. You click on bulk actions. Your manager will have that option. Correct. You can move your transaction to other people. You can select a case. You will be. If you want to create one, you want to update or you want to process, you can choose. Let me process. This shows all the existing ones and you will be able to. You see assigned to senior manager. You can select your then are there any cases regarding this. Let me just remove this. You get to see all the cases. You see, these are that will create. You can push back to the queue. Correct. You can select some actions. Right. You see, you can transfer the assignment. You can transfer some case ownerships, or if you want to resolve or withdraw, you can do it. All these are possible. Because not always I need to work on the assignment I've chosen. And sometimes it might be a little more complicated. I need some assistance and all. I can just transfer it to someone else. I can do that. Routing is all about providing a responsibility or providing a user that needs to work on your assignment. Are we good with this? Any questions related to routing far? Are we clear? Which operator you are checking? Are you checking the right transaction ID? All this is important. Because in case you check other case on the manager portal, you don't see the routing happening correctly. I think there's a scope for a lot of confusion here. That's true. It's only theoretically clear. Until when you do it, it will be. Right? Right? Correct? Correct? Correct. You do it once or twice. I mean each routing scenario. Just try it once or twice. I think that should be good. Add in some business conditions and try doing it. We're not that complicated, but definitely hands-on is required. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.